At Maverick Public Relations, growing your influence is their specialty. MPR works with remarkable companies in the cannabis industry to deliver exceptional results. Experience big agency expertise and outstanding client service delivered by seasoned and knowledgeable experts. Connect with Maverick PR today and move your company to the next level. Visit them at www.themaverickpr.com. That's themaverickpr.com.
Besides all the other side effects they have. So again, truly, we have the perfect product here, and it was created by generations of humans interacting with hemp. And like I say, it's the only product out there, the only plant out there that our bodies literally know exactly what to do with. And it literally makes our bodies function, including all the mammals out there. So I can never say enough about the hemp and how it actually gets in with pain, gets rid of the issues, and you are pain-free without side effects.
Welcome to the Miracle Plant Podcast, the show that inspires, promotes, and gives you a daily dose of inspiration from the people who have used cannabis to change their lives in extraordinary ways. Here's your host, Justin Benton.
Welcome back to the Miracle Plant Podcast, where we discuss this extraordinary plant with so many names and how it's helping people all over the world. Well, today we're kind of having a throwback. I was actually talking with one of our clients who's a chiropractor who loves our products and was helped spreading the word about this miracle plant. And he was like, hey, can you send me over some info on pain and CBDA, raw CBD, and how well it works? And I just had one of my trainers really wanted to kind of go down the rabbit hole. And so I was like, well, yeah, let me scroll through our Miracle Plant podcast episodes here, and I'm sure I can send a couple over for her to listen to. And wouldn't you know, there wasn't a specific episode that really just talked about this miracle plant in the raw form, CBDA, and how it helps with pain and inflammation. And so I was like, oh my gosh, well, I guess I know what our next episode's going to be. And here we have it. We are going to go down this rabbit hole. Now, I know we've talked about it on many episodes because it is so prevalent. Pain is the number one reason that people find us or are looking for help. And whether it's back pain, joint pain, nerve pain, headaches, migraines, kind of sounds like a Pepto-Bismol commercial. But those are the things, right? And that was the simplest thing for us when we started seeing people find us, either hearing our story or doing their own research online. And then they would Google and find it that we had a local store in Southern California, and they would come, and it was primarily pain. And many of you that have heard these episodes in the past have heard the ailments or the diagnosis of neuropathy, fibromyalgia, rheumatoid arthritis, all of these autoimmune diseases that people were having real challenges in life and not seeing real breakthrough success, consistent success through the pharmaceutical approach. Doctors were prescribing different things, and maybe there would be some relief or a minimal time that it would help, and then all of a sudden it didn't work, but then they came with a list of side effects. And so that's when people started finding us, and that's when we, in our own eyes, at our stores in California and in Colorado, started hearing these amazing stories of absolute relief from neuropathy, rheumatoid arthritis, fibromyalgia, lupus, joint pain, back pain, brain injury. I mean, all of these major issues that people were struggling with for sometimes years upon years were taking a simple oil, a plant oil, and having all of these miraculous stories. And that's when I called Dan, who's here with me, as well as my mom, Janet, and said, Dan, I would love to start a podcast called The Miracle Plant so we can talk about these stories, so we can have these people on and they can share their real life stories of how this plant, especially in the raw form, CBDA, was helping people reduce pain, get out of pain, and really start to get their life back. So that's what our episode's about all today. And like I said, we do have Dan on as well as my mom, Janet. So welcome back to the Miracle Plant Podcast, you two. And let's talk about CBDA and pain, shall we?
I would love to talk as always. And I will point out that I am the director of research and development, not just Justin's mom, who shows up sometimes. Um, and so, as Justin mentioned, pain was the number one reason people were looking for relief with the CBDA. And it's still right up there, just that the pandemic has brought anxiety and sleep issues more to the forefront. But pain is always an element of the majority of people that come in. And just a quick thing, so pain, by the way, is caused by inflammation, and it's also caused by nerve issues or nerve damage. And so those two things together equal pain. And so to address pain, you actually have to address both of those issues. And our the CBDA, if you've heard us before, we talk about some of the properties. One is homeostasis or balance. And so it balances everything in your body, including your immune system. And your immune system is what controls inflammation. It balances your inflammation versus anti inflammatory properties. And so it's like the ultimate anti inflammatory. And so, just by that fact of balancing the immune system and getting rid of the inflammation, if you even got rid of that, many people, anybody with autoimmune, by the way, autoimmune disease is all caused by inflammation is the basis for it. And so for that, plus the pain, that property to get rid of high levels of inflammation is huge for pain. And sometimes you can see inflammation visually, like if you just suddenly broke your wrist, it's going to be red and swollen and warm to the touch. And those are all signs of inflammation. And it's supposed to be healing us, but inflammation often lingers, and that's when you get chronic inflammation or pain. Then the second thing that causes pain is the nerve damage itself. And so you could also feel that when you injure something immediately. And then luckily, one of the most amazing properties that CBDA or the raw unheated CBD has is it literally can not only repair nerves that are damaged and protect them from damage, like if you have an ongoing illness like MS or Parkinson's, it can help protect from further damage. But the biggest property that I keep waiting for the billboards to pop up with is it literally can regenerate or repair, we call it neurogenesis. It can literally regenerate nerves that have been damaged. And so we see that a lot with things like the autism we work with, but definitely with pain. And neuropathy is basically nerve damage. And so if you can get rid of the pain from neuropathy, it means it's regenerated the nerves. And so by something that can get rid of inflammation and repair the nerves damage that are causing your pain, you literally, that 1-2 punch absolutely literally gets rid of the pain. And we always say without the side effects, except for the side effect that you will sleep better and feel calmer and be happier, and all kinds of positive side effects. And so again, too, that's just a real quick summary of the basic reasons the CBDA is so amazing for the pain people have.
Absolutely. And one of the things that I love the most is, there's a lot of stigma about cannabis or hemp, right? A lot of people think about Cheech and Chong. A lot of people think about the stereotypes and gateway drugs and all the conditioning that we've had, especially in the United States for the last 80 years. And so there's just a lot of people that are really hesitant, even today. And we're talking, this is, April of 2022. And people today, I'm dealing with it on a constant basis, that even people that are of my generation, and they had resistancy or hesitancy to trying the product, because they were worried about the stigma or getting high or drug interactions. I mean, we've just been totally conditioned to think a certain way, and that's why I love the topicals, because anybody that has any type of resistance or hesitancy for whatever it is, right? I mean, it's like whatever that reason might be, whether it's the news or whether it's the way they were brought up, or if a person in a white coat doesn't write it on a prescription pad, then it's not to be trusted. Whatever that conditioning is, at the end of the day, we all, as I've talked about before, can know that if you have a sunburn, everybody knows you put aloe vera on it, right? That's just what you do. Now you can get a fresh plant that's growing in your backyard and crack it in half and rub that gel freshly right on. Or you can buy some colored version in a tube at the store that's been, denatured and, however much effectiveness it has. And that's the difference here between what we sell, what our products are, and what's out there in many other places. And so for anybody who's hesitant, who's in pain, and I see this all the time, that's why I love our roll-ons. right? And we have little ones that are like sample sizes and travel sizes, and we have big ones that never seem to run out. The only time that those ever run out, it happens that a friend or a family member tends to walk away with one, and that's when people come back and buy more. But for those that are hesitant, it's like, okay, here's pain, right? You've got pain on your foot, you can't walk, or you got a limp, or you hurt your shoulder, or whatever it is, and you rub something as simple as plant oil on where the inflammation or the pain is, and the inflammation reduces and the pain subsides. That's black and white, right? There's no I don't know if it's in my mind, maybe, I'm not sure. It's like, no, I had pain in a 9 out of a 10 or 8 out of a 10 category. It was really messing with my life. And now I don't. And so that's why I just love the topicals. It's such a great entry point for people. And then when they start to think about things like aloe vera, sunburn, it starts to click, right? Because we've both grown together on this planet for the last, millennia after millennia, dating back 2 million years. And this plant and us, we know how to communicate with each other. This plant, as they've said many times before, whatever ailment that you have, there's a plant out there that can help. It just happens to be that this miracle plant with so many different names helps us find that homeostasis, that balance, which basically, as Dr. Ethan Russo said, whatever disease or diagnosis or ailment that you have, this plant will help. Endocannabinoid deficiency syndrome. So again, just really excited to talk about pain. Talk about pain. You want to say something?
I was going to jump in real quick. So Justin's absolutely right about the topicals. You can rub a lot of things on your skin, and we all do, especially seems like women more than men even. But one thing's unique about using the CBDA is because while you rub it in, we have receptors, the endocannabinoid system of receptors that our body has. And so there's receptors all over the skin too in deeper layers. So it actually is responding and working with that endocannabinoid system, so if you're putting even aloe vera or things like that, they are just reaching what parts of the body that they can, but they're not reacting with the system, endocannabinoid system, which makes the CBDA much more unique. And one thing about the topicals, they're a great starting point and they're wonderful. Like if you have a swollen knee or a stiff neck, or a lot of people use them for migraines. They rub them on the side of their head or the back of their neck to help with migraines. But one thing is like neuropathy we talked about earlier. Neuropathy is internal, it's nerve damage. And so that's not going to be affected as much by the topicals. And so that is kind of the discriminatory factor. Do you do a topical or a sublingual? And so then when it's something deep inside the body, then you actually have to put it under your tongue and get it into your body. And then also they work great together. And so when people come in the store, it's a real common question, do I need something under my tongue or do I need a topical? And then some people also benefit from both. They're very synergistic or work very, very well together. But Justin's right. There's still less concern now. People are finally understanding hemp better. But in the beginning, when we opened our stores, it was always, I spent all my time explaining the differences between a marijuana or whatever you want to call it plant and the hemp plant. And it basically comes down to the THC level. But anyway, now more people are aware of that. So now they're looking more fine-tuned into what product is, what it works for, what are the ingredients and things like that. But so you always have to decide when you're going to enter and start using the hemp products, is your pain more on the surface or localized, or is it within your body? And so like with rheumatoid arthritis and like say with the neuropathies and with MS and all those sorts of things, that it's the internal nerves that are damaged or not functioning properly. Then you do switch to the sublingual oils. And I like that thing you mentioned, Justin, too, about our ancestors. And one thing I think is just fascinating about the hemp or the cannabis plant in general is it's the only plant that we have as humans consumed ourselves, used for medicine, ate animals that used it, which is why all mammals, including humans, have an endocannabinoid system. And so you can take all not that I'm knocking them, I've used them before, ashwagandha and turmeric and all those things. And they're always going to have some anti-inflammatory or antioxidant or type benefits. But the CBDA is the only one that literally goes beyond that endocannabinoid system and goes to every cell of your body. And it is like the master to me, that it can balance every system in your body. It can control inflammation. It can control oxidation. It can repair. And so it's just a whole new ballgame to me. I've worked in this field of healing people for too many decades to brag about anymore. Um, but anyway, so it is so unique to have that raw CBDA and the things that it can do. And so that also applies then to pain. And so there's so many people taking over-the-counter medications or prescribed medications from their physician. And what they do is like block the pain. So your body doesn't feel it, but it's not doing any repair. And just get a little bit sciencey. We have COX-2 receptors that all the NSAIDs and the pain medications focus on. Well, it has two functions. One is blocking pain, but it also, as a side effect, blocks the communication to our digestive system. So you hear about a lot of people taking pain pills who end up with, stomach aches and ulcers and all kinds of colitis and all kinds of things, because it literally is blocking the needed communication with the digestive system. And then the CBDA, being very sophisticated in its reactions in our body, not only goes through the COX-2 for pain, it's also getting rid of the inflammation and nerve damage causing the pain, and it does not interfere at all with digestion. And so to me, if you take some time to understand what the effects are of the medications you're taking versus what the effects and benefits and the long-term results of using something like CBDA that literally goes in and repairs and gets the nerves, gets rid of the inflammation, and actually, if I can use the word, heals what's causing your pain, versus just a ongoing product that doesn't really do that. And again, the side effects build up over time. And even the doctors admit you can't be on some pain medications too long because they interfere with your immune system. Besides all the other side effects they have. So again, Trudy, we have the perfect product here, and it was created by generations of humans interacting with hemp. And like I say, it's the only product out there, the only plant out there that our bodies literally know exactly what to do with. And it literally makes our bodies function, including all the mammals out there. So I can never say enough about the hemp and how it actually gets in with pain, gets rid of the issues, and you are pain-free without side effects.
Are you ready for liftoff? Don't miss Canada's #1 cannabis conference and trade show, Lift & Co Expo, May 12th through the 15th at the Metro Toronto Convention Centre. Level up your industry intel at Lift & Co's business conference, plus connect with movers and shakers from across the cannabis industry and preview new products and services from 250 exhibitors. Plus, everyone loves Lift & Co Expo prizes, live music, and more. For tickets, visit liftexpo.ca. That's liftexpo.ca.
The Advils, the ibuprofens, the aspirins, the Tylenols, the things that we take here in our country, in the U.S. especially, and as well as other countries. But just speaking of the U.S. First off, is I was a baseball player growing up, and our arms would get tired, and we'd have double headers and all those kinds of things, and so you're a kid, and in your teenage years and whatnot, and you didn't think much of it. You just wanted to be able to play baseball, and so you would pop 800 milligram pills or whatever you needed to take of ibuprofen to just have that pain reduction. Well, if you're a kid and you're healthy and you got a great immune system and all those kind of liver functionality is perfect, then you can handle a lot. But those that aren't young and fit and healthy, that have some health issues, it's not a sustainable lifestyle to continue to take over the counter medication like that. It can cause ulcers and bleeding, and in fact, if you look it up, there's tens of thousands of deaths every year that no one really talks about from over-the-counter pain pills. And it's not a sustainable way to live. It is tearing your body apart over time, especially even the opioids and the opioid crisis that we're more aware of now, which is good. But any doctor will tell you, and the original people that released those pills, that it was always meant for a temporary pain reduction to get through that initial injury, nothing more than a week or two. And obviously many people were prescribed opiates for years and years and years. And we all know about the effects that had on people and addiction and death, and it just was not a sustainable practice. And so when you find something, and again, that's why we're having this podcast. That's why we're having this discussion. Some of you that are hearing this right now, this is the first time you've ever heard this. This is breakthrough information, and feel free to go to pubmed.gov, right? That's the source. That's where all the research has to be published and peer reviewed for people, for it to be in the medical community. And see for yourself, dig a little deeper and understand that you know, like I said before, whatever issue that you have, there's a plant out there that can help you. It just happens to be that this plant, cannabis, hemp, whatever you want to call it, it is a plant that helps our bodies reduce inflammation and pain naturally, repairs nerves naturally. And we still have a big uphill fight. Look, there's a product out there called Epidiolex that GW Pharma makes. They jumped through all the hoops. They got all the patents. It's a single molecule isolated CBD that comes from marijuana. It's got a bunch of other fillers and crap in it, but that product is a CBD white pill version, right? Now, Epidiolex is for epilepsy, right? That's the name, and it's for children with epilepsy because they saw so many incredible results that were published, even dating back to the 1970s with Dr. Raphael Mechoulam. So they came out with this pill, and that's been a lot of the holdup with the FDA. So they're obviously very well funded, very high power attorneys, lots of lobbyists, and they don't want the FDA to rule. They're scouring through all the old paperwork. How can we not let this CBD come out? How can we not let it come out like a natural supplement, like ginkgo biloba or turmeric or any of the other things that you can readily find, ashwagandha? And the reason is because they know that they can charge $32,500 a year for a family with a child, which is what it was developed for, with seizures. Whereas they could come to our store, get a compassionate 50% off discount, in many cases free products to try. And that would, the most it would cost you is $40 or $50 a month. So do the math. That's what it all comes down to. And I'm sorry if that's cynical, and I'm sorry if that is upsetting, but that's the facts. That's the truth, is that we live in a society that, unfortunately, this is the way the game is set up. And so fortunately, you're hearing this information and now you're empowered. Pandora's box has been opened, that there is a plant out there that will actually help your body naturally reduce inflammation, naturally reduce pain, naturally repair damaged nerves, which is what neuropathy is. Neuropathy is pain. It's like little knives stabbing you in the foot, in the hand, right? Is there a numbingness or is there a tingling in your fingers or your foot, right? That is neuropathy, some form of neuropathy. And it's night and day. We see it all the time, with clients. And if you look at our testimonials, if you look at our video testimonials, and some of them we can't even put on our website, right? We have to take them down because, again, the powers that be don't want this information out there. They say it's a health claim. They say this, that, and the other. We're constantly fighting that. Again, this is one of the only places where we can speak openly and uncensored about the truth, that literally people are taking our products to solve, heal, repair, fix these horrible diseases that they're living with. And we're able to just talk about it. And again, I'm so grateful that we have this podcast, the Miracle Plant Podcast, produced by Dan and PodConx, and that we can share this insight, because it's so important to get this message out. And I know we have a big uphill fight, but you know what? As Dan has said before on the podcast, we've come so far. Don't look at the struggle that lies ahead, but look at the distance we've traveled from where we were 10 years ago in this country to where we are now, with understanding this plant. And it's not just about this plant. This plant is a gateway away from pharmaceutical drugs. This plant is an opening, an awakening of what else can I do to take control of my health, to take back control of my health, right? We are what we eat. Food is our medicine, as our last episode talked about. right? We are what we think. We are what we sleep. We are what we drink with water. We are how we exercise in activities, and we are what we sleep. And so when you're doing those things and you're incorporating this plant, you're taking back control of your health. And we're just so excited to talk about this. I hope that this episode helped you understand a little bit more about pain and inflammation. If you have questions, please go to the website. It's themiracleplant.org. We do have some products on there. They are just all topicals. It's just the stuff. It's a great entry point. Try a product. I know we have some discount codes and things like that. We'll put podcast 20, right? That'll be a discount for you. Put that in at the checkout and get 20% off, because we want you to try these. And if you have pain and you're tired of taking pills and you're tired of pharmaceuticals and you're just sick and tired of being sick and tired, try a little oil. We have products that start for as little as $7, and it's just plant oil, plant juice, organically grown from our family farm out here in Southern California. It's our gift to pay it forward for what this plant has done for my son and my mom's grandson, and so many hundreds of thousands of other people that were looking for a miracle, that were looking for an answer to their prayers, and they found it. For us, it was a severe neurological ailment, which was nerve damage, and my son, an inflammation in his brain, which is what Parkinson's and Alzheimer's and all those diseases are. That's an inflammation in your brain. You've got to get your brain, the swelling, to go down. And that's what this plant does naturally. So when you reduce the swelling, the brain knows how to heal. The body knows how to heal. That's what our bodies are designed to do. That's how we've made it here this long. And when we reduce the inflammation, we improve the circulation. Just like when you're 7 years old and you get that scrape and the next morning it's gone, our bodies know intuitively how to heal. We just have to make sure that we're doing things that support it, especially as we get older, or if we have other injuries, that we need to maybe increase things like this natural supplement that we're talking about, hemp. And did you have anything to add to that? I know you usually do there, Mom.
I know I always feel like laughing when you ask, because I'm a talker. I admit it. And part of it is I do research all the time and work with people all the time online and here. And one thing I'll add too, because this is such a big topic, and then people with pain often have like, how does it work for this or how does it work for that, whatever their particular issue is. And so one service the company offers also is either on the website, or just my quickest way to get a hold of me is just askjanet.org. And you can set up an appointment. I do free Zoom calls, 30-minute Zoom calls, and as many times as you want to talk to me on whatever issue. And so that's a really important part of what we offer too, because we can never in one podcast address the depth of how the CBDA works for pain, the depth of how it applies to your particular issue. And also, as we talked before, total health comes from not only just this, which helps solve problems you've created, it also helps maintain your body in a wonderful state. But it's also important, like you say, to get exercise, to get the right water, to be sleeping. And then also what we eat. What we eat and drink has such a massive influence on our health also. And so I'm trained and certified in a variety of areas. And so I always encourage people just to sit and chat and get your answers for your specific issues answered. And so that's another option that you have, is just askjanet.org to solve those problems. And I can go deep into science if you want more or less. And so that's why this pain one is so important, because as Justin mentioned, there was this huge flare up in sleep and anxiety related to the pandemic and just fears of the disease and job issues and now inflation. And there's always something it seems we can worry about in America. But the basis for many, many people that we see too still is pain of all types. And so again, too, it's really important that people get information out there. And just let you know, there is a plant that our bodies use for centuries. Our bodies know how to use it. It's a plant, again, that literally balances and creates everything to make our body work optimally. And so again, too, very excited to talk about pain, but we could actually have 10 episodes on pain. And so if you have any questions that weren't answered in the podcast, you can always just come and ask me, or just stay tuned to podcasts. I'm sure we'll be talking about pain again in the future.
Absolutely. And that's why I like talking about pain, and I like working with health practitioners that specialize in pain and neuropathy and spine and just really focused on pain. And we work with many. who either refer clients to us or they actually stock our products in their office. We have a whole line for healthcare professionals called 101 Hemp MD. And on top of that, we also have done some private labeling and some white labeling for some doctors and chiropractors out there who want to put their logo on it and all that kind of cool stuff. And we do that as well. And it's obviously made by us and what have you. But it's kind of like when you go to that restaurant and it's got the bottle of wine that was made, made specifically for like the Hitching Post up in Buellton, where they did that awesome, funny movie Sideways. So we offer that as well too for doctors, healthcare professionals that want to carry the products, because many people are going to have different ways that they are accustomed to getting help for their health issues. And if it means going to a doctor's office or a pain specialist or a chiropractor or a holistic, type person, then that's great. Obviously, there's a long way to go with the traditional medical community. But, in California, we've made a lot of strides. We get lots of doctors, traditional MDs and physicians that send people our way. Sometimes they will just say, try CBD, and they'll find us naturally, like on organic listings or local listings on Google. But we will get plenty of doctors in Southern California, especially, that will say, I've heard really good things about 101 CBD. You should check them out. And so, again, we love focusing on pain, because as we know, this plant can help when it helps your body help itself. We could talk about, you name it, name an ailment. Let's talk about it, And if you have questions or suggestions, send an email in. You can reach out to us on the show notes. It's info@themiracleplant.org. And we'd love to either have you on as a guest to share your story, or if there's specific topics. I know in the past we've had Dr. William Courtney offer to come on and do an episode podcast with you one-on-one for your specific health challenge, whether it is MS or fibromyalgia or Parkinson's or autism. It is just simply a miracle that there's a plant out there that can do so much for us. And we just have to keep talking about it. We just have to keep sharing our stories. And that's what this Miracle Plant podcast is all about. So at the end of every podcast, we unmute our mics and we say, heal the world, because that is the mission, to pay it forward, because we have unlocked the secret, which shouldn't be a secret, that people can take control of their health by incorporating a plant, a misunderstood plant with so many names. So on the count of 3, we say heal the world, so people out there can find us, can feel us, and can help heal themselves. So on the count of 3, let's say heal the world. 1, 2, 3.
Heal
Heal
the
the
world!
world! All right. Thanks for swinging by the Miracle Plant podcast. We will see you next week, 10 a.m. Pacific on Clubhouse. Thanks, everybody. Happy healing, and be a blessing to somebody.
Hi, I'm Gary, and I invite you to discover the Cannabis Podcast, a bi-weekly podcast focused on a Canadian's cannabis culture. I would be the Canadian, and my cannabis passion and culture has been building for 5 decades. I share that passion for this wonderful plant in every episode, through conversations with cannabis advocates and enthusiasts, stories about the ever-changing legal environment, and some hands-on testing of product in a segment I call Cultivar Corner. The Cannabis Podcast, a Canadian's cannabis culture, one toke at a time.